Daf Lamed Beis 32 of Torah, and we're going to actually conclude one mimer, learn a summary of a full middle mimer, and then a summary of the beginning of the third mimer. Now, originally, before Matan Torah, before the giving of the Torah, Hashem just sustained the world based on kindness, without us really deserving it. But after Matan Torah, the world only gets sustained based on what we bring the chayes that we bring through our Torah mitzvahs. This is why Dovid said that the Torah is like a song, because what he meant was that when we learn Torah that sustains, it introduces a deeper and higher level energy than the world has by itself, and therefore one word of Torah, it sustains and gives the world something, the world and all worlds something more than it would ever have by itself. And this is through refining and working out all the details of the different halachas. Now, although Dovid was correct, and he was actually in need of this, because when you call out the world's bluff, it seems to be something independent, and it was actually opposing and disturbing Dovid at that time. So he said, hey, this is all really just dependent on one drop of Torah. The entire world and any problems I may have is all dependent, only exists by virtue of the energy brought down to it from Torah. So he needed to say this because that actually lessens the opposition through showing that it's really related to Hashem. But still, he should have also mentioned that Torah is really beyond, that Hashem's Torah is not just to help the world and to sustain the world, but it's something that Hashem cares for himself. And because he only spoke about it in terms of the song of the world rather than Hashem's pleasure, that's why he was punished. Now, the truth is that we mentioned earlier that there's words, the crowns above the words, then there's the nekudos, the vowels, and then there's finally the melodies, the timing, the trop. And this highest level, the melody represents realizing that and really being excited about Torah as yes, the pleasure of the world and what sustains the world, but also Hashem's pleasure. Whereas the nekudos, the vowels, they represent touching on it, having a trace of this excitement for Torah, but not really taking it in a way which will really be permanent. And when a person rejoices in Torah, but only in this superficial way, then it doesn't last. And after davening, at some point, it will just dissipate. And that's like the seven fat cows being swallowed by the 7 thin cows. Whereas when a person is really focused on this excitement for Torah and how Torah is something which it gives energy beyond everything the world has, but even more than that, it's not even about energizing the world. It's Hashem's pleasure. And when someone really reflects on that in a deep way and in a focused way, so then we don't have the fat cows getting swallowed by the thin cows, because his excitement for Hashem and for Torah will be permanent. Next mimer, it's about Chanukah, and asks, how come with Chanukah the commemoration is with the menorah, unlike with Pesach and Purim, and it notes that with Pesach and Purim, it's a physical miracle, therefore a physical commemoration, whereas Chanukah was always about the spiritual. The Greeks were not trying to kill out the Jews. They were just trying to get the Jews to adopt Greek culture, and therefore the commemoration is spiritual. So let's talk about that spiritual commemoration. So it says that the ner mitzvah Torah, that the mitzvah is a lamp and Torah is the light. And the meaning is that mitzvahs is something that we can't necessarily understand, but we've got an instruction and we can follow it. Whereas with Torah, it's about understanding. So Aaron is the one who lights the menorah, and really the idea of the menorah spiritually is that there are 7 general branches, 7 general spiritual styles among the Jewish people. And Aaron lights each one. He allows each one to develop a love and ava to Hashem. Then in the morning, the next day, we get something even beyond, because it says that Aaron would light the menorah in the afternoon, and then he would clear it and be mativ it, literally means make it good, in the morning. So the idea is that we have to try to develop the greatest ava and passion, love for Hashem that we can, and Aaron helps us get there. And then in the morning we get a gift of beyond, which is not even an ava, a love that we can reach. It's a love which is beyond anything we can reach, and that too is elicited with Aaron's intervention. Both the ava, the love that we can achieve ourselves, it also has help from Aaron, and then the love which is totally beyond human capacity, certainly it has help from Aaron that Hashem gifts it to us. And this is the idea of the menorah and the mitzvah of Chanukah, where we bring down this love of Hashem and we connect Hashem. Even if we don't quite understand it, we can at least grab it. It's like the idea of a mitzvah, which is the lamp. It's not quite the light like Torah. It's like a mitzvah. Mitzvah is the lamp, and that connects to the idea that mitzvahs are the limbs of the king. Even if you don't understand the king, but you can at least hold on and connect with the limbs of the king. Okay, that's a bit of a summary of the middle mimer. Just maybe one other point that which has been brought up quite a few times lately about bittul. So it talks about our bittul in order to connect, but it also talks about Hashem's anova to even care for us, because when we might say, wow, Hashem is so great. Look what all the worlds he creates and energizes constantly. But the whole fact that he cares to get involved, that itself is anova. So where we see Hashem's greatness, we see Hashem's anova as well. Okay, the final mimer, also about Chanukah, and it asks, how come, according to Beis Shammai, the number of candles go down? Because the bulls, the Gemara says it's because just like the bulls of Sukkot, every day they would bring one less bull. The same thing Chanukah, every day one less candle. The first night 8, going all the way till 1. Even Beis Hillel agree that there's a link between the bulls and the menorah, but they just say still we should go up in holiness, not down. So what is the connection? Now, the Maim explains that there are two things that are connected with the idea of ner, lamp. There's ner mitzvah and ner havaya nishmas adam. The soul and mitzvah are both connected to ner. What's the connection? Because when we do a mitzvah, when we're involved in this world, when we learn Torah in this world, so we're rewarded with Gan Eden. Gan Eden, what is the pleasure of Gan Eden? It's not about some sort of sunbaking and physical pleasure as we know it. It's the pleasure of grasping and connecting to Hashem. The problem is that the light of Hashem is too much for our soul to take, and therefore needs a garment, some sort of screen that lessens the intensity of the energy and lets the light come through, but with less intensity. And that's the function of mitzvahs. Mitzvahs are something that surround us, that we don't eat them like food, but they surround us. It represents this makif energy, the surrounding energy that allows the light of Gan Eden, the understanding of Hashem in Gan Eden, to come through to us without the fire and the bite, so that we're able to take it in. Thank you, and we'll continue tomorrow. We're in the middle of this third Maimer Tana Rabbanim Mitzvahs Ner Chanukah on Daf Lamed Gimel, halfway down the first column.